All right, guys, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to get into creating our own custom assets for Enscape. Um, I figured this is a good time to show you, there's going to be often times where the library isn't large enough and you just need to know how to get other objects in. So one, well, obviously we can download them, but I think this is as good a way to kind of show you how to do it. Um, and then maybe we'll cover the rest later. So, all right, so let's just take this curved wall piece. It could be anything that you've created if you think it's something that you might want to use over and over again. Um, Obviously, if it's already in Revit, I could probably just make it again, but let's just pretend that I'm going to use this in another project, and I don't want to really have to go through the work of reestablishing this. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to turn this to isolate element. And the reason we're turning the isolate element on is that anything that I'm going to export this object, and anything that's in the 3D view would be exported. So I've told it not to export. I mean, basically hiding things will allow me to only export it. I'm going to go to the OBJ. So I'm under export, under CAD, OBJ. And I'm going to see what medium exporting looks like. And then if that's not high enough res, then we'll go to fine. But we'll go with this. Let's go find a place to put it. Okay, I've already got one here, but I'll go ahead and save over again. And leave the temporary hide isolate mode on the export. Yes, that's what I want. All right, and then we're also going to do this all over again, but we're going to export this time still as an OBJ, but we're going to do the course. And I'll go into that later, but I'm going to have this one called course available to me. Again, just that. All right. Now, let's see what the next step is. I'll go ahead and turn off this, or turn off this here. And let's go to Enscape. And let's go to Asset Library. So what you should be seeing is something like this. I will say it is possible to go ahead and get all the assets to be readily available offline. If you're having it take a long time to load the various assets, you might want to do this and define a place on your hard drive to put it. I'm not going to worry about that right now. All right, so here we are. We're going to go to create a new asset. Switch to custom asset. Okay, it didn't give me, I was hoping it would give me a question here. So it didn't, so I'm going to simulate it. What you guys probably got, let me delete this. Wow. So when you hit this, you probably got a dialog box that was going to ask you where you wanted your assets to be located. Let's see, I think I can do it. So this is the question that you're probably asked. So project directory, I'm going ahead and using the project directory for the class for this. And then the next one is where you want to put the final output. And I've just found labeled a Enscape assets folder on my D drive. Okay. All right. So let's go back in. Now we're going to create the asset. So switch to custom. Yep, that's good. I'm going to import the geometry It gets a little laggy here for some reason on mine, so I just got to wait for a second. All right, so this is the curved shelving, so it's the OBJ. I'm going to select that. And then it comes up with this. I'm probably going to go ahead and use the icon of like that, call it curved. I don't know. I don't have to call it shelving, I guess. That's the category it's in. All right. So now you'll get all of your materials. You'll also notice that we have a top view. That's probably not the view we want. So I think, oh shoot, we did not convert this to meters when we went ahead and, that's probably worth doing. Okay, discard changes. When we do this part here, we should have gone up and we need to change this to meters. All right, so we'll just really quick correct ourselves here. Easy mistake, but also easy to fix. Okay, so as long as you've assigned materiality to this, it will pull in those materials when you're going to create it. So you'll notice that when I import this geometry, again, it got laggy right here. It automatically pulled in the materials that I had. So it has the air. And you'll also notice that these numbers change. So now about 3 meters in length, because you can see also it's using, which is the up axis. Right now it says it's Y. That is incorrect. I think we want it to be Z. And if you're like me, I don't, you can see how you lost it here. It's there. It's just hard to get to. And it's also hard to rotate the scene every which way you want it. So if you're having trouble with that, what you can do is use your keyboard. And I've turned on this on-screen keyboard, and under options, turned on the numeric keypad, and then turned on numlocks, and it's got, so all that is to say that you can use on your number keypad, not on your regular keyboard, those numbers won't work, but this will allow you to get kind of key views. And all this is good for is you need to create a thumbnail. You have to have a thumbnail, but it's good to have a good view so you know what it is that you're working with. So I think I'll go with a view kind of like that. That'll work. Now we're going to save that. I'll probably change the materials a little bit too, and then save it again. All right, so let's just change so we can see how this works. So you're wanting to create aluminum. So we're going to go in, and maybe it's a painted, powder-coated aluminum. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it some metallic. I'm going to turn down the roughness. So I'll give it a little sheen on it, but it'll still be maybe not quite like a chrome. We don't want chrome. So that's good for that one. The default are the light source. I'm going to call it out as self-illuminated. And then I'm going to change the color and change the color of luminance. And I'm going to turn this up quite a bit. I may have to turn it down later, but that'll be, you can start to see it there. All right, I'm going to save that again. And at this point, we're ready to save it. We haven't used that course, but I want to show you something before we use that. So we're going to go ahead and save. It's still not quite so happy with me. And did you see the this geometry of your asset contains over 20,000 triangles. That's a problem, or it could be a problem. If I was to use like 100 of these in my project, or maybe even 50 of these in my project, that would be a problem. Essentially, it's a big poly count, and it's going to take it a little bit longer to render than normal. So you do want to control that. It's easier to control in Rhino than it is in Revit, and that's why we went to that medium. Um, but let's just see how it looks. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's already saved changes. I'm going to click this, and you'll see right now I've got a new asset that I can use in my project. So I'm going to go to level 1, and I'm just going to move that in. You can see that it's floating away from the cursor. That's a problem. It's because my guess is that's how far away from the origin of this thing is. So a slight problem there. Not sure how to fix that from a Revit standpoint. From a Rhino, it'd be pretty easy. Um, but we could even, if we wanted to, we could kind of guesstimate where this is and move this over. But likely for you, it might end up inside the building, and I don't know. That doesn't seem like it's worth it. All right, so I'm just going to put a couple of these in. Whoa. Okay. Now you'll notice another thing is it's showing up as a big box. So the reason for that is, and we'll go back into Enscape, is that it basically just does a big kind of bounding box over top of the piece. If you don't give it, and that's why we're going to go back in. Now we're going to go in and we're going to edit, switch to custom add. Okay, it should load up. We're going to give it a placeholder geometry. Choose a new placeholder. So in this one, see what you want to do is you want to give it a pretty coarse, by that I mean, by coarse I mean it's like a low res placeholder that it will use to show in Revit what it is. Now it looks like to me that even at coarse, this thing's a pretty large file, so this is going to help. It's not going to be quite as big, but I'll show you also in Rhino how to do this, and I think then you'll see even more effectively kind of that piece. But I wanted you to know how to do it in Revit too, just because you might be making some pieces of furniture or objects in there. So okay, we'll do that. And that should be good. Save changes and close. And well, that's weird. It must not update. That's really weird. Okay, it did. It just took it a bit. All right, so then now we can see kind of the origin. You know, it's pretty simplified. It's a little bit simplified version of the piece. And I can see there's some issues of the way it was built. Weird. I might have to. I think it went. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, let's go ahead and take a look. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Enscape. All right, so I don't have any lights set up in here, but you can already see that that there's something going on here. It looks pretty good. Um, and again, this light element, I think is pretty cool. I mean, it just shows you kind of how what you can do, with that sweep tool. Uh, Obviously, if I had objects on the shelves, they really wouldn't be lit up by it because you don't even know that it's happening below your point of view. You just know when you see it, from when you get underneath. But there you go. There's that. All right.